I'm Sora Luxon, and this is Tarot Card 5 of Swords, the Lord of Defeat, sometimes referred to as Pride Before the Fall, or, by those of us who are a little more direct, the Sadist card. Venus in Aquarius from the 1st to 10th degree is actually not as straightforward as it seems, with a victory reigning over the defeat of enemies. A lot of the time you'll see this card just described as a defeat card. It's much more than that. Rather, what we're seeing here is a cruelty. It's a malice of expression. It's the winner who gloats and brags, the busybody who takes glee in the overthrow or downfall of others, rather than being noble or honorable in victory. This is often an individual who enjoys causing and creating strife and division. Someone who will step in, whether or not it's their place to break apart relationships, friendships, well-functioning networks within your career. To need to smirk after so utterly overcoming others is actually a sign of weakness, not strength. It's insecurity created by cowardice. If there were no cowardice here, then the one who is holding all the blades wouldn't feel the need to have such a visceral, egotistical, emotional reaction to their win. In Gevora of Vav, we are advised of the face of ego as it relishes in another's loss. We are advised of the contest, whatever it is or was, being completed and coming to a culmination. Words like failure, negation, anxiety, impoverishment or poverty, avarice, and willful jealousy to make gains at the expense of others or to take pleasure in someone else's pain, unreliableness, ingratitude or thanklessness after a win, trouble, and having things go against someone are all in the Five of Swords leering image. Clearly, the nasty victor, who no one is applauding here, has won by some deed of thought or action. So there is usually a cleverness attached to this card. There's no armies backing this person up, and there's no subtlety either. So they must be clever. This is an individual who's quick on their feet mentally, who thinks fast, or is a fast talker. But whatever whim they serve, it can easily change from moment to moment. And in the end, it's only ever to serve their ego. They're not even serving themselves. Generally, this is going to be an extrovert who's very mentally active, but also oddly detached from others or lacking genuine attachments. The Lord of Defeat is known for being spiteful, slandering, engendering loss wherever it goes, creating defeat, yes, but defeat that will be revisited back upon itself in other ways. It's a cycle, because the win here is as shallow, as inauthentic, as disingenuous as the smirk on the winner's face. It's likely that someone, perhaps yourself, is speaking evil of others in order to bring them down, to cause them pain, or to gain some sort of a victory or win against them. Any gains that have been made by that sort of behavior or other actions taken to win, despite the harm caused to others, will ultimately be lost again. Those gains will be lost. This win causes more grief, more hardship, more labor, more lack of rest even, because now those that have been overthrown are so dejected that they will have cause to be bitter, to be resentful, to linger in this moment of pain, and to wish the winner ill fortune. The Five of Swords may look happy now, but it won't be able to sleep at night knowing that those enemies it's created may want to return to do worse and more vile damage in order to retrieve what was taken fairly, but then made a mockery of them. Gabora speaks to us from the 5 of the 36 Deacon cards and says, there is strife here. There is opposition and oppositional forces, physical plane problems, troubles full of struggle. War resides here, challenges and obstacles against what we may already have possession of. You need to expect contests and gossip in the workplace, backstabbing in joint projects, harsh conflicts, or physical argumentation in personal relationships. And egos running riot to their own detriment, including, perhaps, your own. Take a good hard look in the mirror, because if you're the one doing this, it's time to become aware of it. Winning at all costs does not result in anything good. And because of that, there may be someone seeking revenge against you right now. If a competitor has defeated you, has beaten you out of a new promotion, has won against you, or forced you into failing in some way, if you've been defeated, you can take some slight sense of justice and peace from the fact that they don't actually get to take any joy from what they have or from what they've done or gained. They won't enjoy it. They won't take any joy from it. They don't know how to. What to do with the Five of Swords? Don't rub people's noses in things. If you're doing that, if you're winning, if you're finding competition and defeating others, you don't then rub their noses in it. You don't rub their faces in it. It never ends well. Gloating over the defeat of others is a trait that will only visit the same dishonor and embitterment on the victor who is behaving and thinking that way. There's a real vileness of nature in this card. We don't use the word sadism lightly. So don't be party or prey to it. Those gray clouds scudding across the sky while one man weeps in anguish in the distance, none of that looks friendly here. So be aware of that. There's infighting going on or challenges once overcome that are going to result in vindictiveness. So be prepared to navigate that sort of thing with equanimity of purpose and keep your ego out of it whenever and however you can. You do have the right to win. You have the right to overcome, to claim victories and gains. But you don't have the right to do so at unnecessary cost to those who you are disempowering. You don't have the right to gloat, brag, or just attack for the sake of attacking, to accost anyone or anything you can just for the sheer vile and nasty momentary pleasure of winning itself, or to seek contests with others for minor things which cost you little but will result in their being completely crushed. Nothing ever makes that sort of thing all right. Think about some office space and you're in charge and it's a little bit too cool for you. It's just a tiny bit uncomfortable for you. The air conditioner you think should get, turned off because you don't like the cool air. So, do you want the air conditioner turned off in the office that you're in charge of? Sure. It makes you minorly uncomfortable. Can you, as head of this office space, you're in charge, right? Can you sign some sort of edict into law that the AC never get turned on ever again and that everyone have to sit there and swelter in the heat that you prefer because just a little bit of cold just makes you a little bit uncomfortable? Sure, you could do that. But when it results in one of your employees, in someone collapsing from heat stroke because you're behaving this way, when it causes real harm to someone else so that you could have a minor adjustment, you're going to have to deal with that fallout. People aren't going to like you for that. They aren't going to like you for smiling and bragging about how you got your way with the AC right before poor, sweet, older Donald had a stroke because you made the office too hot for him to be able to survive in. Sometimes it's better to suffer a little than to make others suffer a lot. Be mindful of that. Don't let your ego run the show. Get away and step back from narcissism, whether it's in you or in someone else. It's not going to serve you well to embody it or to remain near to someone with narcissistic tendencies and behavioral traits. The Five of Swords reversed. In the reversal of the air-suited Five of Blades, we are advised to avoid conflict, to stay out of and away from trouble, to see it coming a mile off and turn around and take the other exit before we get anywhere close to it, to realize that we aren't going to win this one and that it isn't worth winning, especially not when inflamed egos have become involved. And that's okay. It isn't cowardly to run away from irrationality and ignorance, especially if it's in, the vessel of a combatant that has it out for you for no logical reason at all. It's actually a waste of your time to engage in that sort of thing. You won't accomplish anything. They'll never hear you or understand you or comprehend you if they're functioning from an egotistical place. And walking away could be what results in the problem, if it's an individual, for instance, becoming aware of itself. Because you gave it the space and silence to do so. You didn't give it the challenge or the combatant it needed to thrive. Also, sometimes when we disengage from something incredibly troublesome before it even happens, quite often, the best gain, the best result that we're then rewarded with is it's not happening, that it won't happen because we chose to walk away. This could be the argument that doesn't get worse, or the conflict that doesn't blow up entirely into something 100 times worse. All because you walked away to begin with. So in that way, the Five of Swords reverse can be a good thing. If you approach it properly, if you take this perspective, it doesn't just mean run away. Sometimes it means win by not trying. What to do with the Five of Swords reverse. So you've pulled the Five of Swords reverse, now what? Move on. Let it go. Get away from it. Take a good hard look at your ego and say, you're there. That's enough now. And release. Release the emotions connected to the unnecessary conflict being created. Forgive and forget. If you're in conflict with others, it's time to shake hands. Say you're sorry. It might be a hard pill to swallow. You might not think it's fair. But go ahead and allow them to apologize to you as well. Spend your energy on something more useful than allowing a conflict to go on and on and on. Leave your ego at the door and listen to someone else's side of things. You might not agree, and that might not matter. If it's a slight thing, a small thing, or an obstacle that's only going to turn a molehill into a mountain if you choose to challenge it, just let it go. You're not going to gain anything from this conflict whether or not you win it. Not all challenges are worth fighting for. Pick your battles. And this isn't one of them. Reconcile. Put past resentments where they belong. In the past. Until next time.